Hello guys, let's start. So first of all, I welcome you all to this interview question series of MySQL. Okay, and we already seen 3 sets in that series, and in that 3 set we encountered the different important interview question regarding to the MySQL. And in the set 4 we are continue that journey. So this session our first question is, what are the storage engines in MySQL? Okay, what are the storage engines in MySQL? So answer is that the storage engine in MySQL are the components. Okay, these are MySQL components that can handle the operations for different tables types to store the manage information in the database. Clear? So it's specifically the MySQL components that can store, manage information with respect to the databases. And there are different types of storage engines are available with respect to the MySQL. First is InnovoDB, then MyISM, then memory, merge, example, CSV and archive. So these are the different example with respect to the MySQL storage engine. Clear? So let's move towards the other question we have for the session. How to change the database engine in MySQL? Okay, so first of all, if you want to change anything with respect to the databases or objects, you can go with the alter statement. So alter statement specifically used for altering the existing database schema. Clear? So for changing the database engine, we should go with the alter statement. So what is the syntax of alter statement? So we first use the alter table clause. Okay, after that we will mention the table name here. Whatever the table name you have, you should mention here. After that we'll use the engine equal to whatever engine you specify. So whatever engine means what engines we have. In the previous question we see there are InnovoDB, MyISM, memory. So basically you just name those engines and the database will run on that database engine. Clear guys? So alter table name engine equal to like InnovoDB, then it will actually run on that engine. Okay, clear guys? So with respect to this question, there is one alternate questions or the question which is often asked, what is the default storage engine in MySQL? So we have a default storage engine of InnovoDB. Clear? So InnovoDB is my default storage engine. So these 3 questions are interrelated. First of all, what are the different storage engines available, and what is the storage engine? It's a MySQL component that can handle the operation for the different table types, okay, and manage the information with respect to the databases. We have InnovoDB, MyISM, memory, something like that. There are different engines available. If I want to change the engine in MySQL, so we can go with the alter table statement. In an alter table statement, we specifically mention the table name and then engine name. And what is the default? The InnovoDB is the default. Clear? I guess these 3 questions clear to you guys. Let's move forward with the other question we have. So the other question is how to use group concat with the different separator in MySQL. Okay, how to use group concat with a different separator in MySQL. First of all, what is group concat? Group concat is an operation which is used for pivot or unpivot the table. Clear guys? If I want to pivot the table, then I can use the group concat functions. Clear? So what is my condition here? I want to use the group concat with the different separators. Okay, so what is separator? The comma, hyphen, semicolon. Okay, these are my separators which basically separate 2 values. Okay, so how can you use that? So first of all, I'll just use the select statement, and inside the select statement I first provide ID. Means what? At the end I want ID, then use the group concat function, and in the group concat function I'll provide you the column name. Okay, so whatever the column I have which contains the different value, I'll provide here. And then separator, what separator I want? Hyphen I want, comma I want. Depending on my requirement, I'll just provide the separator here. Okay, so in this case I'll provide the space separator. Clear? Separator is my clause or command, and after that you specify that separator. Then I'll use the alias to just denote whatever we group this thing into. Okay, so I want alias of department only. From which table, on which table we are performing this operation? Employee table. Clear? And then we just group by ID. Clear guys? So group concat basically does what? If I have a different records, okay, which for suppose ID of 101, there are 5 records are there. 102, there are 4 records are there. And if I use the group concat for that, it will basically won't take the 5 space. It will just take 1 row, and in the 1 row you can see all of these information. Clear guys? So this is the use of group concat function. Let's move toward the other question we have. What is the difference between between and in operator? Okay, basically the difference they are asking about two clauses, which is the first clause is between clause, and second clause is the in clause. Okay, so the between operator used to select the range of a data between two values, and these ranges are inclusive. Means what? I want the ID or name ID of a person between 101 and 110. Okay, so it will include 101, 102, 103 up till 1110. Clear? This is my between operator. And in operator is used to select or check the record in the list. Okay, so if I just give the ID in 101, 102, 103, 104 up till 110, then whatever value is satisfied under the in clause will be fetched out. Okay, clear guys? So these are the difference between the in and between operator. Okay, so in operator basically checks the values in the list. Okay, if the value is present, then it will fetch out. If value is not present, then it specifically skipped it. Okay, and range operator strictly operate between the two range. Okay, it will fetch from 101 to 110. Okay, clear guys? Getting it or not? Okay, so these are the two clauses we have, between and in operator. So with respect to the syntax, you can say that it will check from where clause. So where clause we will basically mention the column name, and then between operator and value 2 are separated by and operator. Okay, and with respect to the in clause, it will basically take one column name and then in, and after that list of values. Okay, whether this value is present then s, whether this value is present then s, something like that. So between and in operator. Clear guys? Let's move forward to the other question we have. What is the difference between function and procedure in MySQL? Okay, so this is the most asked interview question, I say, when it comes to an advanced SQL questions. So what is the function and what is the procedure? The function returns single value which anyhow mandatory. So function always return one value. Okay, but on the other hand, procedures returns 0 or n values, as many values as you can. Okay, the second difference is that they only works with the statement like select. Function always work with the statement like select. Okay, on the other hand, procedure, they can work with the multiple statement such as data manipulation language, insert, update, delete, and select also. Okay, the third difference is that in the function transactions are not possible. Okay, using functions we cannot perform the transactions, but in the procedures we can perform the transactions. Okay, transactions where we just modifying the existing database records. Clear? Then there is another difference of error handling. So error handling is not possible in terms of function, but error handling will be possible in terms of procedure. We'll use the try catch block for that. Clear? These are few of the differences between the functions and procedures. Okay, so let's move forward with the other questions we have. What is the difference between char and varchar in MySQL? So basically char and varchar are the data types with respect to the string value. Okay, strings are nothing but the sequence of character. Okay, so first is char can have a maximum of 255 characters, but varchar can hold 65,535 characters. Okay, The second difference is that char field is fixed length, but varchar is a variable length field. What this mean? First of all, if I give the char data type and I store the strings of 5 character and I mention that char of 4, so it will be strictly allowed only 4 character, but varchar can adjust depending on the value provided. Clear? Then there is a difference of char uses a static memory allocation, but varchar uses dynamic memory allocation. This with respect to the second point only. So it will adjust its space according to the requirement whatever we have provided. It won't trim down or trim up the existing string. Clear guys? So this is the difference between char and varchar. Then the next question we have, how can we get the current date in MySQL? Okay, so this is related to function. Okay, so there is a now function which is a date and time function we can use to select the current date. Okay, so select now can display the current date in your system. It is a system dependent. Whatever your system is, whatever system you are running with, it can only fetch that time and date in your MySQL workbench. Okay. Next question we have, write a query to find the duplicate rows in a table. So it's a most often asked interview question. There are different way we can do that, but we will go with the simpler way. So first, what is duplicate record? So duplicate record definition changes according to your requirement. Means what? If I have a 10 column, okay, and I want none of the values are repeated into the 10 columns, depending on the 10 columns, then my definition of duplication is with respect to the 10 columns. But I want with respect to 5 columns only, with respect to 1 column only. Then with that we can go with finding the duplicate records. In this, let's look at one of the examples so that you can understand the duplication. Select student ID. So we will take only one column here, so that if any of the record is repeated in that student ID field, it will considered as duplicates. Then count of student ID. We will use the function of count to basically count how many student IDs are present. Okay. Suppose 101 present 5 times. So it will basically fetch the number 5. If we use column name along with the function, then it is mandatory use the group by clause. Okay. So in the group by clause, we will take a non-aggregated column. So this is my non-aggregated column. Clear? Then the table name, on which table we are trying to perform this operation? Student table. Clear guys? So basically we will get the student ID and their count, how many times it appear in the database. After that, to filter these groups, okay, to filter these groups we will use the having clause. Okay, and in the having clause we specifically mention count which is greater than 1. If any of the student present more than 1 times, so it will be duplicated and we will just filtering out those records. Clear guys? So this is how we can filter out the duplicate record in the table. Okay, so let's move forward. How to display odd rows in employee table in MySQL? Okay, this is another question related to function. First of all, we'll just take an employee table, and from that employee table we are fetching ID, name and department column. Okay, and in the where clause we will use the mod function. Mod is a statistical function. Okay, the mod function basically returns the remainder. Getting it or not? If the remainder is not equal to 0, let's correct this one, so not equal to 0, then I'll basically fetch all of these record which is in the odd position. Odd means what? Not divisible by 2. If I take the 2 here, it will basically returns the remainder. Okay, and if it is the remainder not equal to 0 or equal to 0, based on that we will just fetch the corresponding record. Clear guys? So this is how you can display odd number of records. Okay, let's move forward with the other question. What is the stored procedure in MySQL? Also write an example for that. Okay, So let's see what are the stored procedure theoretically, and then we'll move forward with the explaining the example. Okay. First of all, the stored procedure is like a sub-program in a typical programming language which is stored in the databases. Okay. A stored procedure contains the name, list of parameters, and the SQL statement. All the relational database system works as a pillars of a stored procedure. Clear? So stored procedure are nothing but a set of SQL statement that wanted to perform certain operation and return some result. Okay, we can use any of the data manipulation clauses here also. Clear? So these are the things with respect to the stored procedure. Okay, let's took an example. So here is the example we will have to look at. So first we change the delimiter of this because we want to identify this is as the procedure. Okay, then we will create the procedure using the create clause. Okay, so using the create clause we will create the procedure and name that procedure as the get all pages. Getting it or not, guys? So get all pages is my procedure name. Then inside the begin and end block we will basically write my SQL clauses. Okay, and this is a simple SQL clause where we select all those columns from the pages table, where title something like we perform some of the operation on it for checking the pattern. So it's like ending with the MySQL interview questions, or it contains MySQL interview questions, right? So whatever the titles we have in the pages column which contains MySQL interview questions as a string, which will fetching out. Okay, then we will reset our delimiter. So this is my procedure. If I call this procedure now, then it will perform this operation and fetching me the result. Clear, guys? Clear? Okay, let's move forward with the other question we have. Write a query to display even rows in the student table using MySQL. It's the same like the odd one we have seen earlier here, but the thing is that the comparison with respect to the 0. Okay, again I'll select all the column from the student and we will use the mod operator here, and we will check if it is divisible by 2, then it should be even, and it will fetch the corresponding record. Clear, guys? Let's move forward with the other question we have for the session. How to display top 10 rows in MySQL? Okay, how to display top 10 rows? So it's a very simple question we have. So basically we will use the limit clause for that. Okay, so basically we are using the limit clause for that to fetching the top 10 rows. Okay, so basically it will check from the beginning of the table, and it will just restrict down to the 10 rows. Clear? So in that ways we can just select the top 10 rows from the any table. Next question we have for the day. Write an SQL query to fetch the duplicate records from the table where using the MySQL. Okay, so this is the same question we have seen in the previous, but the thing is that in that case we just change the criteria of duplications. Okay, previously we will see the duplication with respect to only one column, but if I want the duplication with respect to the several columns, in this case the 3 column, then I simply write it down the employee ID, project and salary, and then count star. How many values are similar in these 3 of the column? Let's suppose employee ID 101, project is ABC, salary is like 40,000. This is my one record. The same record is again repeated into the column. In the count star, it will fetch the 2. Okay, so the table name will provided, then group by what? Whatever the non-aggregated column there is. So these are the non-aggregated column here, and to filter out the groups we are using the having. So having count star is greater than 1. This is my query to basically find out the duplicate value with respect to the different column. Depending on your duplication criteria, you can do that. Okay, so let's move forward with the other question we have. Write a query to fetch the common record between the 2 tables using MySQL. Okay, suppose I have 2 tables and I want to fetch the common records between these 2. We can use the set operations. Okay, What is set operations in MySQL? Basically, set operations is like a join only, but it will works on the different select clauses. Okay, so in the intersect, basically we will first select all the column from the employee salary, and then select all the columns from the manager salary, and whatever the record are common between these two select statement, we'll do the intersect command. So intersect basically fetches the common record between these two select queries. Okay, so we can use the set operation to find out the common records with respect to the two select statement. But if we can do this by using the joins, also using the inner join, but this is another way we can use to find out the common record. Clear guys? Let's move forward with the other question we have for the session. Okay, so next question is, what is the difference between the having and where clause in MySQL? Okay, so first of all, we will use the where clause to filter the records based on some condition, and we will use the having to filter the groups. Okay, to filter the groups we are using the where clause. Then the second difference is we cannot use functions, or we cannot use any aggregated functions inside the where clause, but we can use the aggregated function inside the group or having. Okay, then there is a execution order. Where is executed before the group by, having is executed after the group by. So there are various differences between the where and having clause. Getting it or not? Okay, so let's look at the another questions. The last question for this session. What is a constraints? Also explain the different types of constraint. Okay, so the constraints are the set of rule applied on the set of columns. Okay, if I enforces some rule on the column, then I'll use the constraint here. Okay, and what are the constraints we have? We have a primary key constraint, foreign key constraint, unique, and not null. Okay, so what is not null? It ensures that there is a no null value in the column. Okay, unique ensures that every value in the column is a unique, there is a no duplication. If we combine these two clauses, then we will get the primary key. So what is the definition of primary key? It is a combination of unique and not null constraint. Foreign key enforces the referential integrity within the column. Okay, so these are the constraints in MySQL. Okay guys, so I guess these are the questions are clear to all of you guys. So that's it for this session. We will meet in the next set of SQL interview question. Till then, good day.